Steve Spriester, we are here at police headquarters for our monthly conversation with San Antonio Police Chief William McManus. And we are actually in a room that they call SARIC, or the Southwest Texas Fusion Center. What does SARIC stand for?
SARIC is the San Antonio Regional Intelligence Center.
Talk about this room and how important it is, not only to San Antonio Police, but some of the other law enforcement in the area.
Sure, we have the detectives up that work up here in the Fusion Center. What they do is they basically mine data, and they push that information that they receive that's actionable back into the field. And we have different law enforcement organizations up here. We have fire department up here, some on full-time basis, some on part-time basis, but we basically mine data up here, and anything that's actionable, as I mentioned, we push it back down to the street for the officer's information.
I know that sometimes, you said that this has been in operation for 4 years, and I know sometimes cooperating with others and make sure everybody gets the information is a tough task. This makes that much easier, am I right?
It makes it easier. Having the designation of Southwest Texas Fusion Center, the area that it encompasses, we share information, we share databases with other law enforcement agencies that are within that area, if they choose to participate in the Fusion Center activities.
Let's change gears here a little bit, and I want to talk about neighborhoods, specifically the Near East Side group of neighborhoods seem to be vocal about them wanting more of a police presence in their areas.
Right. Well, more of a police presence and more positive results to the crime that they report and the quality of life issues that they report.
How do you, so they contact the police department saying we want more positive results. What do positive results mean for them, and what do they mean for the police department?
Well, the most recent meetings we had with the groups over there was set up by Councilman Warwick. So we go over there, we meet with a number of community leaders and residents in the areas. The frustration that comes out of those meetings is that the problems that they are concerned about, the problems that they have voiced in the past, there's short-time relief sometimes, and then it just kind of drifts back again. And the reason that it does that is because typically when we go on a call for service, I'll give you an example. There's a call for people going in and out of a vacant house. That tells me that it's being used possibly for drugs, for prostitution. So as a neighbor, you pick up the phone and you say, hey, I got somebody going into this house at this address. Can you come out and check it out? We go out, there may be somebody in the house, maybe we arrest them, maybe we send them on their way. We leave, we go back in service, answer the next call, and then 2 hours later they're calling again. Hey, I got somebody going in this house, come and check it out. And so we wind up doing this again and again. It's a continuous loop. Yeah. What needs to happen is we need to resolve that call, that issue at its root cause. The root cause is not going to be solved by sending an officer in there and shooing them away only for them to come back again. Let's find out who the owner is. Let's let the owner know that, hey, you got to brick your place up. Well, I boarded it up, but hey, your boards aren't holding. You got to brick it up. They brick it up, problem solved.
Yeah, yeah. That's a long-term solution.
That's a long-term
solution.
That's a long-term solution.
Those are the kind of problems that you're hearing from the East Side mostly?
Part of it. I mean, just it's a piece of it. You've got, you know, drug issues over there. You've got prostitution issues. Not just there, but everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
The East Side just happened to bring it to my attention, or bring it to the councilman's attention, who brought it to my attention. But and not so much bringing it to our attention, but bringing it to our attention to address it in a different way.
Yeah. When you go into a meeting like that, I think we talked about this a little bit our last conversation, that you want to be the face of the department.
Correct.
You want to be on the front lines when it comes to this kind of thing.
Correct.
Is that your mindset when you go into a meeting like the meeting you had several weeks ago, or the meeting that you had just a few days ago?
It is. You know, whose job, if not mine, to go over there and at least kick those kinds of meetings off, open them up. Now, follow-up meetings once we get it rolling, once we get all the players, the right players involved, once we get all the different departments involved that can touch the problems that have been identified there, then I can back out, as long as somebody else owns it.
Would it be right to say you're taking a proactive approach to what is happening on the east side, not just the short term, but also the long term?
No, that would be absolutely right.
Yeah.
A proactive approach, and making sure that the appropriate people are in charge of it and the appropriate people own it to get it done.
Let's say I'm in my neighborhood and I don't see a lot of police around, and that makes me think, oh, there's not a big police presence here. Is that a problem that you run into no matter what the neighborhood?
I think the mistake that many folks make is that we have these issues, we need more police. You don't necessarily need more police. We need more strategic thinking and how to address it at its root.
Is there, I mean, I know there are just certain stories that I do that I'm not going to make everybody happy.
Right.
Does that happen sometimes in some of these neighborhood meetings too, where you're going to go in and you know nobody's going to be totally happy, you just hope to find a happy medium?
Well, I think it's more than a happy medium is needed. People need to believe and feel confident that we're going to deliver, and the only way they're gonna feel that is if we continue to follow up with them, we continue to involve them in the process.
In what ways?
For example, what I've asked the folks at that meeting to do is identify the issues, every issue you've got in your neighborhood that concerns you, whether it's a lot that's got overgrown grass, whether it's dogs that are running around, whether it's prostitution on the corner, whether it's gang issues. And after you identify them, let's prioritize them in order of importance. Once I get that information, then we can call all the different agencies, departments, organizations that can touch the problem and help solve it. Once we start to attack those problems, it's important to follow up with the group to let them know the progress that you're making or the difficulties that you're having, or both, in addressing the problem. And that way you're both working on it together. And it's not where they reported it and then they never hear anything back. It's got to be follow-up.
Is that what your advice would be for every neighborhood that thinks they have a problem or does have a problem? I mean, perception's reality for a lot of these things.
It absolutely is. And I'll tell you, Steve, that in the past, years ago, you call police and you say, hey, I got this issue in my neighborhood. Okay, we'll send some extra cars out. There are no extra cars to go out. The officers will be assigned to ride through the neighborhood and make people feel better because of the visibility, but that doesn't solve the problem.
Right. So now you're looking for solutions.
So today, in today's world, today's policing world, community policing or problem-oriented policing is a different way of addressing those kinds of chronic neighborhood issues, be they crime, be they quality of life.
Yeah, and it's not, you don't see it as a pain in the neck if somebody calls and says, I've got this problem in X, Y, or Z neighborhood.
I wish they would call. I wish they would call. When people don't call, the problem festers and it simmers. And then when it finally reaches a boil, that's when I usually get called in. And I'd rather address it sooner than later.
Yeah.
We've done it in other areas of the city. I've gone out and block walk with people to see their problems. I take safe officers with me when we go. They're the ones that are going to follow up on it. They're the ones that are going to report back to the neighborhoods, let them know what's happening, what isn't happening, what more we need to do, and we just keep giving updates until we resolve the issues.
So in a way, it's sort of what we're talking about fits in with SARIC. I mean, you've got police here, you've got the county, you've got federal, you've got the fire department. I mean, all these different agencies, if you want to concentrate on one particular neighborhood.
If SARIC needs to get involved in a safe officers initiatives, there's often houses. We need to know who lives there. We need to know what's, if we have a name we suspect is involved in criminal activity, we need to know who that person is, what their history is. That's where SARIC comes in.
Yeah, that's all the questions I have, Chief. Anything else you want to add? Anything else we need to bring up?
No, just that, you know, we want to make an entire shift to community policing. We have officers that handle calls for service, and we want to have a community policing component that works chronic neighborhood quality of life crime issues, and that's what this component will do.
Yeah.
Address the chronic quality of life.
And I think a lot of people are still stuck in a call, they send out a cop.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't been to one meeting where I've run through this kind of this scenario and how it works, where I haven't gotten approval from the group. And I said, are you with me? Do you like the idea? Yep, we do. So that's the way we need to continue to move forward. We may not be able to get buy-in across the city on this new. It's really not new, but this new way. But you know, we just keep doing it more and more and more in different neighborhoods.
Yeah, great. That's all the questions I have. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Steve.